defy. Sometimes a friend helps us ascend up from life's cares to the sky. Love is a star, though shining afar. It can guide us and help us toward light to draw nigh. Love is a star, though shining afar. It can guide us and help us toward light to draw nigh.
It's really, that was beautiful, by the way, and it's really so wonderful to come and be with everybody here. I think we both feel the love, the openness, the heart quality, the joy that we all share together, and we're just really happy that I could come again, especially with Karpani, who's been here practically every year that I've been here. She's come and served Swamiji's work here, and so we both are really happy to come. This topic of discipleship and stories around that with Swamiji's life is very deep, because to live with a direct disciple, meaning to be trained to have satsang with one classes and to have his talks now and his music, and it's a very rare birth that you're able to come and be with such a one. And when I began with Ananda, before that I read Master's book, autobiography, and I was plodding along on my own, and I wasn't getting very far very quickly. And then someone told me, I was born in Los Angeles, and as I was living there, so I would go to Master's shrines, and I just fell in love with him. But when I would read his books, I wanted to do so much more than what seemed to be available. And I think in my heart I was looking for my family. You probably have that feeling coming here. I was looking for people who were like me. I was looking for Swamiji. I was looking for all of you. I was looking for Ananda family everywhere. I didn't know Swamiji then. I didn't know anything about him, but I just knew there were people like me somewhere, that they were my own. And I prayed to find everybody. And then what happened was someone told me that, Swami Kriyananda, he lives, he told me he lives up in the Sierra Nevada foothills, and he's a direct disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda, and he actually trains you in the teachings and the techniques of Master, and he has a community, a Kriya Yoga community, and you can actually live there. And I just thought, that's amazing. And so one day I went there, and I didn't know quite what to expect, but I saw many great souls. I saw Jyotishan Devi Ji, I saw Jai Ji, I saw Sadhana Devi. I mean, I saw many of the people you know, and it wasn't like my heart recognized the vibration. I was from Los Angeles. I didn't know one person that meditated. I didn't know any other Kriyaban. I mean, I was so much on my own. So I was kind of in the slow lane with the practices. I didn't, I said, it feels good. It was more Master was calling me. And whatever he gave, I would do it. But it wasn't like I was doing that well until I got to meet Swamiji. And he said, this is your home. Why don't you live here? And I was maybe 21 or 22, and I didn't think to live there. But I mean, a memory was coming to me that I know him from somewhere. And I know these teachings, and I know places like this where you can go and be with other Guru Bhais and meditate together and chant together and get away from, the world for a while. And it was a memory was awakening in me. And I didn't live there right away. But what Swamiji offered was just silver and gold. And he had a big treasure chest. And he was giving it to everybody who came. And so with the techniques, he showed you how to practice properly. And he showed you how to serve. And that, service is joy. I mean, that's the first time I ever heard that. I thought, well, why I want to serve? It's all about me. And he talked about satsang, and he's talked about his music, and not so much kirtan, but chanting, devotional chanting. And he was a great master. And you knew you were in the presence of God when you were with him. And so I remember he had with the music, none of us Westerners really, there were a few people, Ravi Shankar, people knew about him. And people knew a little bit about India, but not a whole lot. And Swamiji would visit India he went several times. And some few people would go with him, but he would come back, and I'll never forget it, he had pictures of India. He would make a slideshow. He was always creative and always wanting to share. And I remember one time I was living in Italy and with the group there, and Swamiji had just come from India, and he had just arrived, and he was driving himself at that point, and he said, "Come, I want to show you something." And there was a group of us, and he opened the trunk, and he had his suitcase, and he opened that thing, and these big beads, and he said, "These were blessed." I somehow connected with the Lahiri Mahashaya, and he just, hold those, and we were like, whoa. And it was, he always wanted to give you what he had, and I remember a time when he had some of Guruji's hair, and he just giving it to people, and I just thought, this master's hair. He never held back. Whatever he had, he wanted you to have it and feel it and experience it, and so he had the slideshow of India, and all of these, had these yogis, and I never saw yogi before. At the top knot and whatever, the different, the robes, and he had beautiful faces of people in India, and everybody was, wow. And then Swamiji, he brought out this big tambura, and he would, he was just infusing us, trying to get us to open up to the vibration that we remembered. So he would sing Sanskrit or Bengali, and nobody understood it, but we understood the vibration, and I just melted when he would sing. And I would look at that instrument, and I played the cello and the violin, but when I heard that tanpura, I said, those are the strings that I was looking for. And we all just melted. And then he told us about all of our gurus. We didn't know much about the gurus. We just were following them. And Swamiji told story after story after story about Master and his time with Master. And we would just be there weeping and crying. And what a priceless moment. And they're all in the talks that you can still listen to. And then he had music, and he would go, and it seemed like he had different songs he was composing, for decades. He was writing music, and he would come, and he'd get Uma or somebody to sing with him, or get a group together and hope they'd be in tune, and he just kept presenting, now this is the music, and I loved the music. I never heard music like that before, but I knew he was after something, and what he was trying to do was lift our vibration and get us in tune with everything that he did, with the slideshow, with the Indian chanting, with the the music that he wrote. And I remember he asked me one time, do you sing? And I said, sure. I said, whatever, I mean, I never took any lessons, but he wanted me to get in tune through the singing, and that's why I'm so happy to see all of you singing so beautifully. I mean, he would have been so happy with that. He is so happy with that, and so he had with the music, and then he was always writing, from the time I think we met Swamiji in the beginning, all the way through to when he left his body. He was always working on a book, and you read this, up till late at night, and you're just like, he would say, you're not finished yet? But he always had some book, and he wanted you to read that, the manuscript, and it was always alive. It was never a dull moment. And he was just so filled with God and gurus. And he wanted, the thing that made the difference, he wanted you to have that. It would never stop with him. And he just was always giving a vibration and uplifting, and you just felt completely immersed in the aura of light through all the things I just said. He put a big aura around everybody, and you just felt completely loved, completely blessed. He always pointed to God and Guru, Masters the Guru, God through Masters the Guru, and you try to thank him, he'd point to Master. It was always in that bhav, and you couldn't help but be changed. You couldn't help but feel love and joy, and you couldn't help but feel Master and know that he was in the room. And with the practices, he would work with you, and I mean, that's priceless. Swamiji asked me one time, he must have read my thoughts or something, but he said, do you energize? And I said, well, I wasn't energizing every day. I didn't really want to do it, I did because I had to, but he said, you just absolutely must energize. I can't believe you're not energizing. So then this was way back, I must say, way back, decades ago. And but then when he corrected you, you did it. And if he corrected you, you took that as like, wow, he gave me a gift. He gave me such a great gift that he even cares enough to ask me, about it. And if he didn't correct you, you wonder, am I open enough for him to do that? But with that, and then with Kriya, he made that the central core of your life. Like, not socializing and doing this. He said, Kriya is the central core of our life. And I remember the first Kriya Yoga, Kriya Bond retreat we had. It was in 81 or 82, and Swamiji gave it. He sat there, he gave the talk. Those were the years he gave all the Kriya initiations. Nobody else was a Kriyacharya. He was there. He would bless you as a Kriya Bond. I think Prakash or somebody, one of the other members, did the review, but he was giving it to you and Master through him. And then he said, now we need to focus more on Kriya. We're going to have a Kriya Bond retreat. He said, the whole weekend, chant in your mind, Om Babaji, Om Babaji. I mean, this was big magnetism. And you felt Babaji was there. And then I'll never forget, he talked and he gave a review. He had people getting checked. And he said, there's questions and answers now. And he said, I'm going to sit here until there's not one more question left. And I thought, wow, he really cares that we're doing Kriya properly. Then he started saying, well, we're going to have more Kriya initiations, more reviews, Kriya Bond retreats, Kriya meditations. I mean, it was like he roped you into to Kriya from his own devotion and magnetism. So, I can say wholeheartedly, I didn't know what I was doing with Kriya until I came in contact with Swamiji. And then energization took off, Hangsa took off, Om technique took off, Kriya Yoga took off. I was finally meditating. And then the part of the seva, I mean, he created jobs for people. If there was nothing to do, he'd make up a job. Just so everybody had felt included in the family and had something to do. And he kept you busy. You know, you didn't have time to sort of, well, my problems, I got a problem. And I mean, everybody did have problems, but he wouldn't sit you down and say, you got a problem, let me tell you about your problems. That never happened. He just gave you something to do. And I remember once I was so busy. I mean, I thought, I got all these problems, but he just kept, do it, go. I was so busy, I said, I got so many problems, but I don't have any time. And that was what he wanted. He didn't want anybody to have the time to think about themselves. And then once you got going, you look back and you said, the problems aren't there, or they're much smaller. But he was a master at that. And, you know, I think we didn't really know because it was so gently and subtly done. You suddenly felt better, and you felt happy, and you felt energized. And then he talked all about satsang so much, how important satsang is, and would get everybody together like this. This is satsang. Truth seekers, being with other truth seekers, other high souls. And many times it was, I mean, his talks were like sometimes 2 hours. My brain couldn't take it. You know, I was just like, I didn't get the concepts. I mean, I got the heart, but it was, many people understood. I was brand new in Swamiji. Wow, nobody could give a talk like him. You go on, and this story and that, and you know, how's he going to wrap this one up? And then he'd always bring it back. It's just miraculous talks, beautiful talks. But you learned from us through osmosis. You just got it. And then he wanted you to not put that in your daily life. He didn't want to stop there. Okay, I understood it intellectually. And that's why the service part was so important, that you had to understand it enough to put it in your life. And so he would get people over, and also with meetings with some department needed help, and Ananda or whatever, and you'd have to give your ideas. It wasn't, you had to sit there quietly, don't say anything. He would say, I want to hear from everybody here. And he took those ideas, and he really listened to people. It wasn't, I'm the boss and I'm the only one in tune with Master. He wanted to get people in tune and get people enthusiastic and get people, you know, awakened. And that's what happened. It was like a formula from God and Guru: service, singing, chanting, meditation, being positive, coming to satsangs, being busy. All of it equaled joy and freedom. Great gift. All of it equaled joy and freedom. And if, as you did those things, you felt completely like you were finally got your spiritual life moving. And I don't know, before that I didn't have that, except through Swamiji. And I had, you know, a couple of times that I thought about it, even I was thinking about this, and that happened when we first came to India. One thing Swamiji, and these are specific lessons, he wanted you to figure things out for yourself, not to always, Swamiji, what do you think? Swamiji, should I do? You know, asking other people. He tried to get you strong enough in yourself that you had the attunement with Master, not to put him aside, but like someone asked him, Swamiji gave them a job, and I knew this person, and so the person said, well, Swamiji, what do you want me to do? He said, you figure it out. I gave you the job. So what he would give, he'd want you to grow in your own attunement and all. And so when I first came here, I was in between. Should I stay at Ananda Village in America? Should I move to India? I remember when I came, I said, I called Swamiji from America. He was in India, and I like Karpani. I thought, God, something in India for Ananda. I wouldn't mind being a part of it. But I had another assignment. I was in the Kriya Sangha there in America for some years, helping there. And so I I called Swamiji. I had the opportunity to come, and I said, Swamiji, I'm coming to India, and I'm just going to come for 5 weeks and help. And he said, yes, 5 months. And I thought, he didn't hear me. So I said, so Swamiji, I got my ticket and everything. It's going to be for 5 weeks. I said it clearly. He said, yes, Dhyana, you're coming for 5 months. Very interesting. I thought, well, he isn't here, so I'm just going to go. And so I came, and it was the beginning of the whole work here. And he just seemed so happy with everybody who was coming to help. And so I was here for a little while, and I would look around, I would think, gosh, it's just, they definitely need help over. I mean, we weren't here but a year and a couple of months in India, period. And it was like Swamiji was setting up base camp. He had everything set, and at least he was trying. And so after a while, it was time for me to go back. It was the 5 weeks, and I said to Swamiji, I said, Swamiji, I'm looking around, and I said, looks like, should I stay or should I go, or what should I do? And people in America, they didn't want me to stay here. They was like, you got a job, you got to get back to your work, get to your post. And people were pulling like this. It was Swamiji, but he just waited for me. Obviously now, 11 years later, I can say I was meant to come to India and be here, but then it was not that clear. So I said, Swamiji, should I stay? Or first I wrote him an email. I got no response, and so I thought, oh, I'm not supposed to stay. So then I asked him, and I said, did you get my email? He says, what email? And I said, oh, great. I said, then, he said, no, I didn't get any. What was it about? And I was sort of shy to ask. I said, well, I was asking, in India, should I stay in India? Should I go to America? And he looked at me. It was really direct. One of the most direct things of a piece of advice he gave me. He said, look around. He said, just like that. Look around. You're desperately needed. And I said, so I should stay? And then he said, the second part was amazing. He said, and you need a break. And I thought, break in India? I get a break? You need a break. So the first time I came, guess how long I was here? 5 months. I went home, I packed up, and I came right back. But he waited for me to make that choice. And that's one thing, you grow from those experiences. And I'll tell you one last story, then we want to do an arati and blessing, that as I was here for the first maybe couple of years, Jayaji and I were, we were always sort of figuring out what to do next to get the work out. So we decided we needed these Kriya booklets. You've probably seen them. And so we ended up doing several of them. He would write, and I would go get the printing and get everything done and, get it done. And those were great times, and because he's a very good writer. And so after the first one, I can't really relate to you how wonderful these booklets were, because in the Kriya Sangha in America, I wanted to get those out so badly, but there wasn't time. I ended up coming here. And so it was still this deep, I knew they had to come out, and I really wanted to get them out to everybody. And I had much of the material. So I'm here, and and I said, Jaya, you got to help me out. You've got to get these books. And he says, okay, I'll edit and everything. So he did his part, and then so the first book, I can't tell you how happy I was. I was just overjoyed that people would see Swamiji's words on Kriya. And, it was so beautiful. And I remember the first book, I just walked up and down the street, B10 by 8, and I was looking at the book. I'm so happy. I was crying. I was so happy that we can get this teaching out. And so then I got word that Swamiji, he didn't like the cover of the book. And I thought, what's the matter with the cover is? It's the book. It's like, it's the book. I put my whole heart into the book. And so then Shivani, Nayaswami Shivani, she says, but Swamiji doesn't like the cover of the book. I just thought, why? I worked so hard on it. And so at first I thought I'll just forget it. He's not going to say anything. This is how people do. He'll forget that he doesn't like the cover. He'll forget, and I'll never have to do anything else. By the time that book came out, we were exhausted. It took everything we had to get that book. I was at the publisher and all this, and I got 2,000 copies of the book. So finally I got up, the willingness is the right word, to write to Swamiji, and I said, Swamiji, these are all the reasons why that cover's on the book. It was a picture of actually one of the monks, Devendra. He was meditating. I thought, it's a good picture. It's about meditation. And so I wrote Swamiji, and I said, we put so much energy into the book, and we didn't have any more time, and we want to get it out. I did every possible reason why that cover was on the book. No response. None. No response for weeks. And every day I was getting more, oh my God, I'm so out of tune. So finally I meditated on that, and I thought, that is such the wrong attitude. All wrong attitudes. Why you didn't put the right cover? So it finally came to me that I had to work. He wanted us to put out 1,000% energy, not stop because we were tired. So I finally wrote Swamiji. I said, Swamiji, in the other letter I said we had 2,000 copies and we could never change that because we don't have the money. You can say it was like 10 reasons why that book had to stay where it was. So then in the next email, after weeks of no response, I wrote and I said, Swamiji, it just came from Master, I think. I said, we would be so happy to change the cover. And here are some covers of Master, and I think I said you as well. Please, we would love it if you would choose a cover for the book. 5 minutes passed. 5 minutes. And he wrote back, well, if you would ask me, then I would choose this picture. And also in the letter I wrote, and we don't care how many copies we have. We can take those copies off, put the new cover on. 5 minutes. What a lesson in willingness. Boy, did I learn that. And ever since, that was one of my first experiences in India. And after that, I just went 1,000%, 2,000%. I just kept putting out energy because that's what he was teaching. No matter if you're tired, you don't know where you're headed, you're not sure about it, keep your energy strong, and Master will help you. That's basically what he was saying. And so, anyway, Swamiji is very much with us through his writings and the music and all the wonderful people and Nayaswami's Jyotishan Devi and all of everybody. And I think as disciples, if we could just continue, serve, sing the music, try your best, be ever willing, chant, meditate, all the things that we discussed, then we'll feel him all the time. I'll end with this. Before Swamiji passed away, I may have told you in one of the other classes, this was a couple of years before that, I asked him, I said, Swamiji, will you help us as much when you're gone as you've been helping us all these years? And it was in a satsang, and it was a little pause, and he just said, I really hope so. And I thought, well, he doesn't know. You're going to help us or you're not going to help us? And he said, I really hope so. And it took me a long time to understand what he was saying. It took me actually months. He was saying, I'm going to be there, but are you? Isn't it? I can help from anywhere. It doesn't have to be here. but can you reach up? Can you be in tune so that I can help you? And that's what true discipleship and all the things we've talked about tonight are really all about. God bless you all. Now please stand. We'll do the arati and the blessing.